We're back, and I don't know why, with Mark Szymanski. Mark, welcome back.
Thank you for having me, Matt. It's always a pleasure. Even if we don't have topics, it's always great to be here.
Yeah, today is we're throwing this in, but sometimes I think the more off the cuff series are a little bit more entertaining. Generally, it's a week or a couple weeks in between these episodes, but I'm burnt out with coding and cursor, so I just needed to do something else right now.
Guys, vibe coding extraordinaire. Man, how are you getting tired of vibe coding, bro? Come on.
The issue is too many ideas, and I start building these things, and they become like fairly useful apps, at least in my brain. And I would also say like rather feature complete, but then I just keep adding more and more. And I start building things. And then I've like learned a huge lesson on like understanding dependencies first and understanding like what other like pre-made, for example, like building out this content calendar app. And logically, I'm thinking to myself, okay, so now I need permissions. I need a role-based permission system, which gives I can assign roles to people, and those roles have unique permissions in this content calendar app. So I started building it. I built the whole thing, and it was working. And then I was just like, wait a minute. Like, because it started doing something like as I was, because, once again, not a developer, but I'm understanding the code. I'm seeing what it's executing, and I'm starting to see it solve things in a very, just like a very unique, like a non-scalable approach. Like the way that it's addressing like a lot of the permission needs. And I'm like, wait a minute, no, I need this to be like in a scalable approach. So this is not just for me, this could be for thousands of users. So like we need to think about it at scale. And then that led me down the path of like, well, shit, I forgot to really research if there are existing libraries or, existing libraries of people who have already solved this. Like, for example, like Tailwind for front end UI is something that's already done for you to a degree. And you would launch a project with Tailwind, much like you launch a project with React. So I found a whole bunch of like these like permission-based libraries, and I was like, fuck, like I've already basically fell into the trap which AI will constantly do, and I wish it would do better at this, is you ask it to do something, it does it. It doesn't say to you, do you want like a well-known library that, tens of thousands of other apps are using? Like it should say that. And it's sort of led me down like pre-prompting with that in mind and as my own mistake. So now like going forward, I will do that. Things, all kinds of things like front end and styling is obviously like something that a lot of these things default to, but like when you're doing apps where the state changes, like data is being assigned to multi-users and there'll be different views, like fucking AI will just like go and start writing like custom JavaScript to do this when there are like state management libraries that exist. And just like all of these things, like even if I ask it to do, like my next thing is like commenting, like can I leave multi-users leave comments? If I just ask that, it will just derive a whole commenting system with probably thousands of lines of code when there probably are libraries already pre-made that solve this for me. So it's a long way of getting to like you go down these rabbit holes of AI, and it's powerful, it's addictive to a degree, and it's something that is not, it's weird. Like I don't know how to describe this because I'm not a developer first, but you just kind of like set and forget these things. Like, go build this stuff, Claude Code, and as it goes and builds that, I'll go and watch like a clip from Barstools.
Oh my God.
And then I'll bounce back and I'll go, okay, you're still building. All right, let me go get some other work done over here. And then I'll go and I'll answer a few emails, and then I'll get sidetracked and I'll come back and it's like, okay, it's all done. And then I see that it's done, and I say, okay, let's move on to the next phase. Let that launch. And these things are like building in the background, and it's easy for me to be like, oh, while that's building over there, let me go build this other thing over here. It's just, I'm in constant building mode with this AI stuff.
All right. Today, I'm going to be your psychiatrist. We're gonna role reverse this. Okay. So, how do you feel about this so far? Like, you've been doing this for a while now, and I got some ideas just from what you've said there. But like, you explained it, and all that stuff makes sense, and we could dive into that more. But at the surface level right now, like you said, you were burnt out, like just from doing that. Like, how do you actually like feel about this? Do you feel like you're learning a lot? Do you feel like you wish you were like profiting from it more? Are you at the point where you're like, this is great, but it feels like a waste of time slightly at this point? Like, where are you at right now?
All of it in the middle. No, I'm still, I think I talked about this on a Matt report that I did recently. Can't remember, but I'm definitely still learning. Therefore, like, I want to keep doing it. So, like, even these dependencies, like permission dependencies, like this content calendar app, even though it's not like a strong idea, it is something that is probably the most complete thing that I've built, which could be sent to market, and it could be just like this nice little fun thing. Hey, you sign up X amount of dollars per year or month or whatever. Or I just sell the entire thing like right off the rip, which is something I might have said to Brian Cords when I did his podcast. Where my task right now, this is a long way of answering your question, but my task right now is I want to get this damn content calendar app to a very, very usable state where teams of people on a marketing team can have a content calendar app just to see what happens, but then also build out the front end of it, meaning the marketing website, and make it look like it is a complete product that is done. And people look at it and it looks like this, I don't know, very official, complete piece of software, because technically it works, and it is valuable to a certain set of people. But the idea is finish it completely and then maybe try to just like sell the whole thing right off the rip. If you see this piece of software and you interact with it, you might be like, you know what? I'll run with it the rest of the way. Like, is that a thing? I don't know. It's just an experiment. So the point is I'm still learning with this stuff. That's why I want to continue to do it. When I was out for my run this morning, I was listening to this AI show that I listened to. I forget the name of it right now, but I think it's AI Marketing Institute is the company behind it. Anyway, they were talking about like how all of this stuff is trending to, supplant jobs and all this stuff. And they were just like, once again, warning everyone, like, man, if you're not using AI and you're not learning this stuff today, you're going to have, like, they were both basically saying, like, you should urge your colleagues to be using AI as much as possible today. And as I'm hearing that, and as somebody who is like doing all of these things, I'm like, but what AI? Like, what? I'm learning it. Is there another thing I'm supposed to be learning? I don't know how much more I can learn, right? Like, and I'm hearing people like urge all this stuff, and to answer your question, like, am I just wasting time? I mean, it could be seen as wasting time, or am I learning all the stuff that everyone keeps urging people to learn? I don't think anyone fucking knows right now. So that's why I'm like in the middle. I'm having fun with it. I'm building things. But at the same time, I'm going, what am I doing? Am I wasting time doing this? I have these two concurrent thoughts when I build stuff with AI. And that's where I'm at.
Got a lot more there, so let's keep going. When you do this, simple question, when you do these things, like, you kind of expressed how you did them, you prompt it, you say everything, and I've seen you make some videos about these, but it sounds like have you documented every project you've tried?
No.
Okay. So you're like doing it, and then the essence of this is like you kind of have to wait for it to be done. So you bounce out somewhere and then you come back. Is it feasible I mean, I think the problem that we have is there's too much opportunity to like make money from these types of things. Like there's so many people online, especially right now. You just put AI anything in the title and you will get a shit ton of views. And you've already seen some of this, I feel like, from the stuff that you've put out. But like if you would have filmed everything that you did for this content calendar one and just put that into a video and just like in the front of it you say like, hey, this is what I'm going to build, then you show the demo and then you show like just your raw thing of you building it, like that is literally the blueprint for most content in general, but specifically like this era of AI and automation content. It's like stupid simple. So I don't know, how do you feel about that? I mean, I know you've experimented with a little bit, but like is that something, because there's different ways to like make money from this. That's one way. We'll talk
Yeah,
about
it's
more.
but it would I would also say it's like for me it's not all about just about the money. It is in this case with like the content calendar app, it's sort of just like a goal to end it, right? So like when I get this thing stable, because I just totally screwed the whole thing up when I started porting over to this Castle library for user permissions. I just caught myself thinking about like I've got like 2 more features I want to build into this thing, and this is like the classic like product maker dilemma, is like you just got to ship the thing and then start, you know, building based off of like other people's feedback. But anyway, it is to end it because I do want to like, do I want to run a content calendar app business? I mean, if it was printing money for me, sure. But I'm not like energized by it. I'm just a person who puts out a lot of content, and I'm sort of like scratching my own itch of how I want to like organize that in a visual view. And when I work with a team, because I work with a team at Gravity Forms, work with a team at WP Minute, I can use this stuff in both ways. But the point is like the whole like maybe I just sell this thing helps me push to a point where I know I'll stop, try to execute on that final thing, which is maybe I just put it on Flippa, $2,500. Who wants a complete business, marketing website and an app, a .com, and you know, here's a business plan on the other side of that. And now you just pick it up. You give me $2,500. Here's all the assets. You go run this business. And maybe somebody else can like build upon that. So that's like, that helps me like get to that end point. So it's not always about the money. In this case, it's just a way for me to represent the end of this experiment. It is largely about learning how to do all of this stuff with these tools. Again, with like the voice of these guys who study AI all day long saying, you got to know how to use AI. I don't even know what that means. Like what, how much more do I need? What am I supposed to be doing? What does the future of my position look like in this world of AI everyone keeps warning me about?
Well, I mean, again, more a couple things, but like I think that when this whole thing, I mean, it's funny because I made a video about it. I watched a couple other videos like that just came up in the last couple of weeks. This concept of like creating versus consumption, and also how it relates to AI. I honestly think that when somebody says like, "Hey, you have to learn AI," and like they say it in that format, most of the time I'm thinking like, yes, I agree with what you're saying, but then I really break it down, and I think that, you know, in your case, it completely relates to this as well. I don't think you need to learn more. Like, honestly, like, and I don't say that in the sense of like, you know, everything, but like, you probably know more than 99% of people on the earth about AI at this point, just from the time that you've put in. Now, that sounds ridiculous, but like, think of all the people that know 0%, and then think of all the people that are like kind of know a little bit, and then think of all the people that like have now been in how many hours of Replit, logged in Replit and Bolt and shit that you have. So, like, I don't mean you never should learn anything else. What I do mean is that I'm speaking from my experience, like this is a constant trap that I fall into because this is what smart people do. Smart, intelligent people think that they need to fucking learn more and more and more. And realistically, all they need to do is like, just do like whatever the thing is. Like in your case, like just be like, this is done wherever it's at, as long as it works. And then either sell it, like either go subscription and try to get some customers and then sell it, or just sell it as is, like as a, you know, as a lower priced, just like proof of concept thing, and then go build another one. And next time you build it, film the entire fucking thing and use that as the content, because that's what everyone does. And I'm not saying like I'm doing this. I'm trying to get myself, I'm telling you what I need to be telling myself. Like that is all it is. It's just documenting that shit, and it's at some point being like, this is enough, and we're gonna make some money from it. You say it's not all about the money. I totally get that. I understand. But like again, this is the plight of the smart, like intelligent, thoughtful people, is we think that we need to get to some magical level of fucking knowing before we can do stuff, or completeness, when like if we were actually just a little bit more dumb, we would just be selling the shit, and we would be like making money, and we would be learning so much from the experience of going through those different things.
Yeah.
I'm like, I have to tell you this because it's a thing you're outlining, but it's literally, I need to turn around and look in a mirror and just tell myself this, because that's exactly where we're at. Like it's not complex at all. It's not easy. It's very simple, but it's, yeah. So, that's my advice to you is just try to sell the damn thing, or try to like get some people on the thing for like minimal amounts of money. And stand that part up. And then the next idea that you have, film the entire thing. And it doesn't even need to be good, extremely high quality or incredibly engaging, because I don't want to go super long on this, but because the people that are going to watch this stuff, this is where it gets a little meta, and I'm not going into this right now, but this is the people that watch that stuff are kind of like in the same situation that like kind of like you and I might be in now, where like we think we need to continuously learn. And some people do. Like you can't just jump into this completely blind. But those are the common motifs that I'm seeing right now in this industry. And if I don't start taking more advantage of them, I'm going to have to get a job, and I'm not going to do that.
Where have you heard that advice before? Yeah, I don't disagree. You know, the funny thing is that the last few pieces of AI content that I've put out have not performed well at all on my YouTube channel. And that's like, I already know why. I mean, because it's a WordPress YouTube channel, and I certainly don't want to start a new freaking AI channel. That's for sure. Like that's
could be the best thing you ever did. Could be the best thing you ever do in your life.
I'm just not interested in it.
I mean, you're very interested in it.
I am very interested in it, but I'm not interested in
like you're more interested than most AI YouTubers that I know. Like, I mean, it seems like they scratch the surface and just give like crazy ass superficial bullshit. And the other big thing, obviously, as you know, because I guarantee you watch all this shit, is like every like slight tweak of a fucking LLM that happens, like they make a video on it. And like in your case, you're actually at least thinking, oh, what could I use that other people could use?
Right.
You know?
Right. Yeah. I mean, anyway, I mean, we'll see. I mean, it's not like I've not been known to, to like launch something new, but I don't know. I was actually talking to somebody, this morning, text message, a friend of mine who is probably your age, or maybe a little bit older, by just a couple of years, if that. And I worked with him in past jobs, and he might be looking for a new job. And I was just talking, I was like, so what have you been doing with AI? I mean, everybody's saying, yeah, you have to know AI. I mean, it was right after I listened to this podcast episode. I mean, in fact, I'm going to clip it and use it as the backdrop for a Matt Report episode. But yeah, I don't know. It's sort of what you're saying, I guess, where I think, because I'm trying to define that definition of what it means to know AI and to be ready for the future. And I don't even think it has to be task-based things that you've had to accomplish. In other words, like me building an app probably isn't what people mean by knowing AI. And in his case, he used it for some sales stuff regularly. But I don't even think it's that. Like, I don't think it's like that last mile of AI that people need to know. I think it's knowing generally like which AI tools accomplish the best things at the job you're at. So for example, Claude Code, fantastic for writing code. That's obvious. It's in the name, right? ChatGPT, great for maybe general AI stuff that you're doing, like some market research, potentially writing, ideating, and just by nature of the tool itself, collaborating with others. Like if you have a team account, you have team projects, like all of this stuff like encompassed with one another. ChatGPT works great in this general sense. And then I found that Google Gemini does really good at least for what I found, like the deep research function, competitor analysis, coming up with ideas, like solving business problems. I found Gemini to be fairly good. In other words, I haven't found one that just does it all. Grok, really, really good at AI, at voice mode AI, like having conversations, like not with the stupid shit that they launched recently with like the dumb avatars, but in like real world settings. Like when I go out for a run or a walk, like today I was actually talking to ChatGPT and it's I thought I booted up Grok. I was just doing it quick because I was running. And I pulled up ChatGPT instead by accident. It's freaking terrible.
Really? I use
shouldn't say
ChatGPT all the time. I should try Grok then, I guess.
Oh man, like if you want to have a conversation to like think something through, Grok is by far the best and the most performant. Because when I'm out on a run, like I wouldn't say like my cell phone coverage is bad. Like I can actually hear ChatGPT process, like the voice changes. It's however they do it. It's like it's like however they're.
I've heard that recently. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like however they like do this. It's like its cadence is changing, its tone is changing, and sometimes like the words aren't even complete. Whereas Grok is just feels like I'm talking to somebody, and I don't feel like I'm talking to a computer. So anyway, the point that I'm getting at is like I think we're moving to this, at least in this short term, where I guess maybe to be seeped in AI and learning AI is just to know these platforms generally? Question mark? I don't even know if it can be a singular task because these things change so fast.
I think I can't speak to whoever is saying like, oh, you have to know AI. But if I say that to somebody like, oh, like, do you use AI? Do you know what it is? I think like the 101 of that statement and that sentiment is, do you know what AI can do? And I don't mean like every aspect of every tool and all these things, but like I think there are if there's not already, and people are not going to like me saying this, if there's not already, there are things that humans will never need to do themselves again. Like it's just not necessary. I'm not saying you can't. It's more, there's this new phrase that I'm working with here on larger aspects of life, but I want to have the freedom to never do certain things again. Like, stupid example, I want to have the financial freedom to never have to cut my grass again. But if I want to cut my grass, I could cut my grass, right? So let's put that in the AI realm. I want to have the freedom, the ability to never have to write another, like actually physically write another tweet again, just as an example, right? Well, what that means is that all I have to do is like go into ChatGPT or any of them and be like, hey, chat, something like I want to try to construct this post. Here's like a big blurb of everything that I'm thinking. Can you condense it down into this? Again, I'm not saying you never write another tweet. I'm not saying you never write another blog post, but it has the ability to do that. That's like level 101 for me. There are so many people out there that still don't even know that is what you could do with a ChatGPT. The tool is 202. The tools and the capabilities, all the compartmentalization and the experimentation that you're doing, I think that's 202, because there's so many people that don't even understand. And this is a huge opportunity that I might get into. I've used AI actually more for personal tasks than I've used it for like business tasks, honestly, in a lot of ways. Like the workout program that I have, I don't want to say there's no value in having a personal trainer, but like I gave it exactly what I wanted. I knew what I wanted, and I said, make me a 3-day split of what this, and this. It's done. Like it's done.
But
You
so let me push back against that. Like, how do you know that it's the right one for you? Aside from you like being amazed at the fact that you've put in data and asked it, because I'm generally curious. I'm not like pushing it back
No, yeah,
against
it's a
you
fair
because
question.
I feel the same way. I go, holy shit, that's amazing.
But
but
I
do I trust it? I have no idea.
I'm not saying to blindly trust the technology. However, there is a level of like your level of skepticism needs to rise and diminish, rise and fall depending on what you're talking to this thing about, right? Like if you're talking to about like a workout program for yourself and it's telling you basic exercises for push, pull, and legs, like if you're not even working out, like it's going to be way better and you save some money from like dealing with a personal trainer or something like that. Again, this is just an example, but like you asking that is a good question. Like, how do you know if it's right for you? But like maybe I'm like slightly jaded on like humans, but all of the information that it has is coming from the database of humans, like on the internet. So it's like if
We
I'm not
think.
asked,
I mean,
maybe
you have to be able to trust that. You have to be able to trust that it actively got the right information and it's
let me
not
make
just algorithmically coming up.
let
But
me
I agree.
let me
Continue.
asterisk it then and say like as absolute I am extremely confident, you cannot be or whoever cannot be, I am extremely confident if I'm asking the thing to do something or tell me information or construct something that I know that I need for myself that has been done before and is not like sending someone to Mars, then I'm very confident. Would I ask ChatGPT, hey, you know what? I want to build I really want to build a company where we are going to be the first people to send people to Jupiter. Please tell me how to do that. I'm not gonna believe whatever it says. Like maybe it actually might send me in the right direction, but like that's where your level of skepticism should be a lot higher. But like a workout program, a diet program based on all the context that you give it, again, it's hugely based on garbage in, garbage out too on the prompting. I talk to this fucking thing a lot. Okay. I've given it a lot of information about my life and what I want and like my, my history of like in that area. Again, that's just the example with the health and fitness, but I don't know. It's worked there and it's worked even in like business context. The problem with the business context stuff is it's just going to keep telling you the same shit that you hear on YouTube and then you actually have to act on it. But that was back to our point earlier. So yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I've had it make I've given, whatever, some like stats or whatever and some goals for a workout plan. I certainly haven't followed it because well, no, only because I was just like, I don't know, is this going to be right for me? I'm just scrolling to see if I can
you got to
find
try.
it.
You got to try. It's not really just about the workout thing. I mean, like
Yeah.
I mean, well, okay. So real quick though, like the 101 was the capabilities, 202 was the tools, and like kind of mixed in there is exactly what you're saying. It's like at a certain point, like the AI right now is not like once we get to these agents, maybe a little bit more, and it's kind of coming, but it's not doing the work really. Like you could set it up to do the work, but that's really where you need to know a little bit more. There's I mean, the low hanging fruit right now is so unbelievable though. Like just so many people, like the information that they want. Like I don't Google anything anymore because I want to be talked to in that conversational format where it's like you process what I'm saying like a human would, and then from your your model of data or even the research that you could go find, like as an LLM, like then you're telling me it's telling me what I want, and what I can converse about. Yeah, I talk to it a lot. So
It's interesting that you use it more personally than professionally.
I'm actually gonna bring up. I'm not gonna share it necessarily, but I'm just gonna remind myself of my chats. But like, do you not? Would you say yours is more business?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean
Really?
yeah, I mean it would be 80%, maybe 90%. It's just business research, business/research.
I'm just extremely jaded on that whole thing. So, like, I know, like, in the business world, I know that I have consumed orders of magnitude too much, and my consumption to creation ratio, even though I create a lot, it's I'd say more my consumption to execution ratio is so fucked up that I absolutely need to stop asking questions about business, and I have the information, I just need to do it. But in
Yeah, yeah.
personal life, it's a little different because there are things that I objectively need the answers to, and objectively want to know what I would call like the human consensus on that this thing has, allegedly, right? Depending on your level of trust. So I'll just like throw anything in here because I literally don't Google anymore. And I don't know if ChatGPT is the best for replacing Google. I heard like Perplexity is good or some shit, but I've never used that. So like, just like I'll give you a ridiculous example. The most recent one is like I have this newer 2024 Civic now that has to sit outside because I only have a one car garage. My wife's car is in the garage now. It's like, how can I protect that? It's like, I'm not going to Google that anymore. There's no reason to Google that type of thing anymore. So it's like, how can I protect that? Obviously, sunshade thing on the windshield. Oh, I could tint my windows with stuff that's like not even, like dark anymore. Like they have technology for that. Clear, something on the paint, just like that type of stuff. Because like other people would Google that shit, and then they're going to waste time trying to find somebody that asked it the same way. And then they're going to hope to God that there was an answer that was in the same structure or whatever, or applied to the actual same scenario when like, there's a level of assumption here, but like the level of assumption is that the model has taken all that information and processed it for you. And the amount of time that you save doing that over and over again for anything that you have a question for, I just think that's huge upside for the normal person.
Yeah. In the episode today, it is saying exactly a lot of the things that you were mentioning. Like now there's super intelligence that we're going to, and of course people are or at least these two guys who are in this stuff 10 times more than I am on a daily basis are just saying things like there's going to be so much stuff that we're never going to need to know again or like have to do because of AI, and that's kind of like weird and scary at the same time. And I'll always have the skeptic angle in me because I think a lot of the great things that could happen, like before you said, where I thought you were going when you were talking about like financial freedom, but you went to mowing your lawn. I thought you were gonna talk about like ways that the system could help you achieve financial freedom. And what would be amazing in a world is where let's say your bank has AI, and even saying these things is weird because like who owns the AI relationship? When I talk about these things out loud, like the things that are in my head, I'm like, well, should the bank own the AI for you as the customer? And how do you trust that? And I'll take a step back. I was talking to a colleague at work before we hit record, and we were talking about like analyzing, like just say ChatGPT responses. What do you recommend? Like, why should people buy Gravity Forms? Should I buy Gravity Forms versus XYZ? We're just talking about like analyzing these search results and how we can answer these questions from like the human side. And then we started talking about like, okay, what happens when ChatGPT eventually monetizes itself and has like sponsored answers where it's just like, here's the answer and this sponsored link, right? One would imagine that ChatGPT is going to eventually do that because it looks like they're eating Google's lunch and they're going to keep going after them. So why not do the same thing that Google did, which was put sponsored links in? And then it's like, how does that affect humans? Now, do you trust those results? Do you trust that the answers are not sponsored based on like the sponsored link? So you start getting like this trust factor. And where I'm going with this is what I would really love AI to solve is telling people, hey, AI, I want to save $200 a month. Fucking look at my bank account or my credit card statements, understand where I can save that $200, and don't let me surpass that, right? Like, don't let me screw that up, or however you prompt it, right? Like, make sure I save $200. And what does that mean? That means you cannot spend, like, don't let my credit card go through and buy any more Dunkin' Donuts, right? Or Starbucks, right? Or whatever. No, I'm serious. Like, these are the
dude,
like
you always got that Dunkin' cup. I hear what you're saying.
It's tons of caffeine. I need the caffeine. But like these are the things that can really impact humanity. Like writing blog posts and writing code, whatever. Like somebody who's uneducated on the financial system, maybe you have to stop buying donuts, right? Because it's unhealthy for you. And AI should be able to track that and say, you're at Dunkin' Donuts right now. You do not buy donuts. We will, like, this transaction will not go through. Like credit card declined. Like these are like the serious things where I want AI to win. And when I then think about like a banking system going, we have AI that'll help you save money. Bullshit, right? Bullshit. I don't believe it. It's like when everybody was installing that stupid browser add-on to save money, right? Honey. Morons, right? Okay? What do you think is happening with the data that you're sending to this company who's on every podcast telling you that you're going to save 10% at checkout? Every person is going to search all these coupons. Bullshit.
I mean, I think the people did save money. They just didn't disclose that the other people were also making money.
Well, that too. But all this data is now being get out of here. Get out. Right?
Yeah,
like anything anything from an institute that's going to promise savings, there's always money on the back end. And that's why, who owns AI in the future? Who owns it? Right? You're going to really get me on this
My
rant.
God.
Like,
yeah, this is a mistake.
Would Bank of America ever be like, oh yeah, our AI is going to make sure that you don't pay us any more credit card fees or overdraft fees, or we don't? It's going to limit you on your credit card spending. Bullshit. They want you to spend on the credit card. This is how the system works. So yeah, it's just a weird world when it comes to how AI is really, and this is just one little sliver, healthcare, insurance, government, like all this shit. Like, where are those big strides in AI? Or is it simply just us on the internet that it's going to impact? I don't know. I don't have those future answers for that.
Well, I think it's early. So I don't think I absolutely know. We are in like the 1% of people, the tech bubble that actually cares about this and is, giving, honestly has the privilege to even give a fuck about this in a lot of ways currently at this point. So hopefully I'm in agreement with you. I think that what you're outlining there is like next level things that could happen. I don't have a crystal ball. I can't see it. The one thing I always I hear what you're saying, and it's coming from, I think, a place of more tenure than me, more wisdom, more years. But like, I don't think you put the genie back in the bottle with the whole thing that you're talking about, like
I agree.
data. So like, I mean, you could continue to talk about that. Obviously I don't again, it's one of those things I don't disagree with. It's just, I cannot even comprehend the strategy of a solution, like even 1% of the strategy of a solution to fix that problem that you're kind of like articulating to a degree of like what's going to happen in the data. I am just now living in a world where I am.
It's more about like how do those responses get influenced, right? It's more about that than it is about like where's my personal data go.
Well, I think those are two, kind of sides of the same coin. I feel like the data thing I'm completely over. Like I do my best to secure the couple pieces of information that nobody should ever really know, but still probably do know because it's out there somewhere. And then I monitor things, and I'm an extremely public person, so I pretty much tell everything anyway. So like that's, for me personally, that's just not even in my point of view. Like it's not even in my thing. The other thing about the, like, kind of like you're talking about the sponsored thing. I mean, there is a very good chance that humans, just in general, we ruined Google. Like the humans that dealt with that, like Google was really great at first, right? Everybody was doing all this indexing and that, whatever. And then we ruined that because we wanted more money, or we, as in those people, the humans that were doing that, wanted more money. Very good chance that the same thing happens with AI. Like, and I feel like that's just the human condition, unfortunately. I don't know how to solve that problem either.
Well, but you can't include all humans in that. You have to include the people in those corporations. because that's my argument, is they're the ones that will stifle this innovation because they're the ones that are money hungry.
The only thing I'm going to retort to that is that I will grant you that point. However, I don't know how valid that becomes if like person XYZ, like random layperson XYZ was in that position. Like everyone always says that they're going to be completely virtuous until they like, I bet you if you ask those people at some point, they probably would have been like, yeah, we'll never do that. And then they get the opportunity to do that. And then they are. I think that that is part of the human condition to some degree. I'd like to think it's not. And I think there's varying levels of evil in people or whatever, or like greed or whatever. But I do think that like most people are not content with just not having more, or not wanting more success or wanting more money. Like even at a smaller scale, it's like, I would like a larger house. I would like financial freedom. And it's like those people operate the same way. They're just at another magnitude, another level that's almost beyond the power is almost beyond comprehension, because only so few people get to that level. So we don't need to go super deep philosophical on that. But the point is that if we try to zoom back and we think about like what this is going to be, like, yeah, there might be a day where you prompt something and then they're sponsored. I would hope, as much as we hate subscription models, I would hope that for as long as possible, paying them up front, like a YouTube Premium is still like, I don't know why people don't spend the money on that. Like the amount of time that you save from YouTube Premium, if you actually watch YouTube, is fucking nuts. I go on an incognito tab. I'm like, what the fuck is this? I'm waiting 5 minutes to watch a video because of these ads. So again, so like it's just a tangential example, but I hope that AI stays the same way for long. It's like, if I'm paying you up front, I'm not going to see those things. I'm not going to be influenced by that. I'm not going to have that problem. Will that happen? Don't know. I mean, but the last point is Google was never like that. You didn't pay for Google. They just started doing all that stuff because the whole time it was free.
Well, yeah, but Google also crushed tons of businesses, still does, and, profited off of, the open web and content. But I had a point that I was going to make about so like the greed, and listen, I'm much more bought in on, I think, where AI is going to take us as a net positive, I believe, but trying to really understand like the hype, and like when we saw NFT, and I'm not trying to like match this up, but that same sense of assuredness with, let's say, NFTs, which was like a flash in the pan compared to like a lot of technologies, but there was definitely like, right, like lifetime memberships. This is my digital ticket into anything. I think we talked about this before. Like I could buy a season pass of of the Patriots. I mean, I guess you can technically do that now with like tickets, but the idea is like anyone could start this like digital asset that you could grow and invest and like resell. And there was like that assuredness, like, oh God, this makes total sense. And you just felt like, well, here's the future's here. And then like a year later, just decimated, right? Crypto is like, or at least Bitcoin, Ethereum, like those things have hung on for valid reasons. But I'm just trying to like put myself into that same past to be like, how assured did you feel back then? Now, how do you feel with this stuff? And what could go wrong? Whereas like we all had this like future dream of AI solving everything for us. And here's like the big thing. This is the real like tinfoil hat stuff, is before newspapers, right? Before publication, like information was passed how? I don't have the answer. Somebody knows. Somebody out there knows. But then like once people are like, well, why don't we tell everybody about this? Well, how are we going to do that? We're going to put it on a piece of paper. And then what? We're going to hand out hundreds of them. And then just what? Everybody gets to read it? Yeah, everybody gets to read it. Well, then everybody's going to know all about this stuff. Yes, that's the whole point, is we're going to share this and let everybody know. And like paper, books, newspapers, publications, and then news stations, right? Journalists became a thing, radio, television, the internet, and the internet was the biggest of them all, of fast, quick information, but also the same kind of an even easier way to manipulate information. And then now I see AI just being like the most like easy way to manipulate or influence information. Because like you said, why would I waste my time Googling any of this stuff or dare I say research it? Now it just gives me the answer. And that experience of like 100 years ago, you had to read books. You want to research something? Read books, cite the books, put all your information together, write it all out, and share it with somebody else. Same thing you do with like Google research now, where you're like, I want to buy a new pressure washer. Let me go over here. Let me read these Amazon reviews. Let me read Reddit. Let me watch a YouTube video. Okay, now I know, and I'll go buy my thing on Amazon. But now people are going to be like, hey, ChatGPT, what's the best pressure washer? Okay, put it in my car. Or send it to my house. Automatically charge your credit card, and it's just there. And there's like this, where we're compressing that moment of like, should I double check? Is this the best one for me? And it just feels weird to like just be like, there's the thing, there's the answer. No more research. I don't know.
I mean, I think it obviously feels weird because it's new. I had 2 points. I had the NFT stuff, then I had this other point. But I'll go to the NFT first, but don't let me forget about this other one here that I have listed. But the NFT thing, like, I don't think it's an apples to apples. I know you weren't doing that. But the thing is with the NFTs, like, I'm a person that I still think that has value. Like, I think
agree.
Like a lot of people think that has value. Like blockchain has value. And I'll go tinfoil hat real quick because I don't know, but this is all speculation. Like there's probably reasons that things catch on or don't catch on. There's a couple reasons that I could think, maybe assume off the top of my head. The first reason is you need buy-in from people with power. You need buy-in from people with power. You need buy-in from people that have influence. Now that almost happened with NFTs because they had influence people, but I don't think that they had buy-in from, dare I say, like the powers that be of like the United States and all that sort of shit, because like that's like one step closer to, circumventing USD and shit like that. Okay. So,
one step closer to them storming the beach, baby.
Yeah, so yeah, Normandy, the ham radio. Yeah. You and Kevin talking from Massachusetts to Atlanta. Yeah. So, inside joke for anybody that hasn't heard that was from an episode long ago. But anyway, the other thing is, though, here's the other thing. You need the buy-in at the top because the I don't know how to say this nicely, but the people that don't understand those concepts initially and they don't get them, the layperson, they need to be like brutally influenced and basically like told what to do. And if you don't have the buy-in from the top for it to trickle down, then it's not going to work. And that's what I feel kind of happened there is like some people kind of, bought it, but some people didn't, and you didn't have enough buy-in at the top. And then I think the timing was also kind of weird because I think it's a little bit ahead of its time. Was that all post-COVID anyway? Or was that right around COVID?
Like in the middle of it because everybody was home.
So like there's so much shit. Like I just think the timing was bad there. I do think that's going to happen again. And I would love a world where there's like more of that, like more opportunity for that type of thing, and we could continue. But there's still people working on it, but whatever. Okay, so that's the first thing. Like that's NFTs or anything like that. So AI, I think the thing with AI though is that I think I'm seeing it more than I did with NFTs. I think I'm seeing more buy-in. I think the timing's better, and I think that this is literally something that this is so utilitarian that you're not going to be able to pry this off of people. Like all this little shit, like you're not going to be able to pry this off people unless they just shut the shit down. And you're also seeing it again, like you didn't see Google, you didn't see Apple still not doing shit with the AI, but you're not seeing you didn't see those companies lean into the crypto space that much, or the AI or the NFT space. Just again as an example, like they're in this. Like if they're pushing, it's gonna somehow at least be a part of something. The utility is just too high for even the layperson as we're mentioning, even though they don't fully get it yet. It's too high. Do you have thoughts there, or do you want me to go to the next thing?
Well, just on the NFT stuff, I was just making the case for like the feeling in the moment, like the feeling of like nodding the head, going, "This is like in that moment, in those like 6 months to a year, you're like, holy shit, this does make sense. This does feel good. This feels like the right direction." And that's what I feel like we're saying the same thing with AI today. What was your second point on the AI stuff?
Buy-in, be buy-in from people, or you need the
No, not on the NFTs, on the AI stuff
oh
after that. That's right.
it's not going to go away. You're not going to be able to pry from anybody. There's
Right.
Google.
You're not going to be able to
go.
go to pry. And again, the other thing that I also hold in the back of my head is how much of this is being subsidized right now to the point where it's like, like I was listening to the podcast, super intelligence is going to be free. Is it going to be free? Like, is it? Because
free.
Once again, I just think where we're at is there's just a ton of money coming in. So everything is free, fast, and inexpensive. Should Claude Code be, the max plan be $200 a month? Grok released theirs at $300 a month. And like, are they profitable at $300 a month? Are they losing money at $300 a month? Is the real number $1,000 a month? I don't know where that is. And that's what I haven't heard. So I just don't know how much of this is us going, God damn, like I can replace a developer for $200 a month. This is amazing. Yeah, now because all this money is being forced into this industry right now. But when the dust settles and these guys are no longer doing an arms race and Google wins just because of the size of them, ChatGPT wins, and there's like 2 or 3 standing, Facebook is spending hundreds of millions of dollars to recruit people right now. Each person is getting paid like $200 to $300, $200 to $300 million that they're stealing from all these other places. At some point, they got to like recoup this money. Will it always be this cheap? Will it always be this accessible?
I mean, so there's 2 things. One, the one point I wanted to make is like, again, I know what you were saying, like the feeling of NFT versus feeling of AI. I just believe that you're accurate in saying that, but I just think there's much more objective evidence on the side of AI is going to win than there was on NFTs are going to win, and NFTs are being picked up and versus AI is being picked up. I'm not saying that like smoke is completely, there's going to be fire, but I think it's objectively more just from everything that I'm seeing there. The other thing is, I think we're used to seeing things being more expensive than becoming cheaper. Isn't that normally how technology is? Isn't like the most, like if you try to buy like an 8K TV right now, you're going to spend a shit ton more, but in a few years, you're going to spend less and less and less because the technology gets like easier to develop as they're doing other things. So that's the thing that maybe is a little weird to me right now, because why is this so cheap? Like, why isn't it more expensive and then becomes cheaper? So I'm with you on that. I don't have an answer to that question, but at the same time though, it's like, will this become cheaper? I don't know. Are there examples of things in the technological world that don't become cheaper over time?
Humans.
Like just well,
like the staff and the talent. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, without having to like do research, but I would say that web hosting, like you would think by now, like web hosting would be largely free, but it's not because bandwidth, power, CPU.
Well, I think it's a 2-pronged thing though, right? Because I was thinking about like, well, fucking everybody's complaining that Google Workspace keeps going up or whatever, but like,
yes, I was just complaining about that too. Naturally.
But like, I mean, those SaaS products, they do get more expensive. I would argue, however, I don't know what the proportion is. I would argue though, however, most of them end up like they have like a first 1, 2, and 3 tier. Eventually, like the 1 tier kind of at least gets a little bit better, and then eventually gets a price increase. So it's like it's not like it's just infinitely going up. The platform is evolving, or else you wouldn't continue to have more people. I don't know if that's too generalist of a point to make, but I just mean like, I don't know. I feel like hardware definitely gets cheaper over time because newer stuff is better and newer stuff costs more, and then the things that are slightly older or whatever, become cheaper. I don't know. That's a sort of a tangential point, I feel like. But yeah, I don't know how this pricing of this AI works long term.
I've often I said this in a blog post I wrote a while ago, on my Crafted by Matt site, is I think we'll have what I'll call personal AI, whatever that means, like AI that is in your house and you're asking it questions, whatever that is. I don't know what it is. I'm just saying you own that. It will be a mortgage payment, is my theory. Because if it's that good, like if I can wake up in the morning, like I've had a fucking stiff neck. I went on vacation, I slept on this hotel bed, and I just can't get rid of it. It's been like 4 days. And if I just wake up and go, hey, AI, what the hell's going on with my neck? I want it to give me, like, if there's going to be something that's going to give me the answer, scans me, reads it, understands it, like that kind of thing is going to be a mortgage payment.
You want a personal AI doctor? I'm down.
Just want, like if these things are that good, are going to get that good, they're going to charge for it. It's all, in my opinion, it's all super cheap right now. Claude introduced, I don't forget what they call it, integrations, a bunch of integrations, like 48, 24 integrations, whatever. One of them was Stripe. So I connected up my Stripe account to Claude, and I'm like, well, I can just run reports. Which is all these other companies. I can't remember the popular one that runs reports for Stripe. I think Baremetrics, which I think was sold. Anyway, the point is I was like, wow, this is going to be cool. Like I can just run all these, going to get all this information for me, and it's going to run this report. So I connect up Stripe, and I say, okay, run me a report of my my longest term WP Minute product members and the total value, the total lifetime value of these, top 10 customers. First of all, it didn't work. Immediately I'm like, I pay $100 a month to Claude, not the 200 insanity, but I pay $100. They get this new integration, connects up to Stripe. Every freaking thing I read is like, oh my God, you can access all this data. It's so easy. And I just say, okay, I've connected my Stripe account. Tell me my top 10 customers based on lifetime value. It couldn't do it. And then finally, it took me literally 15 minutes. I mean, something that I can just go into Stripe and see in a couple of clicks, like whatever their recurring revenue reports are or whatever it is. It takes me like 2 minutes in Stripe. But I thought the point was for me to just chat with this thing and say, give me my top 10 customers so that I can then go email them and say, thanks for being a customer. Like that was the whole point. As I get further along, it comes back with just if anybody has used Stripe, you have customer ID in Stripe that's associated with every customer. And so it just gives me the customer IDs, right? I finally get it. Like 15 minutes in, I finally get this report. I don't even know if it's accurate. I say, now convert those IDs to the emails. Give me the emails of these accounts. And then it just comes back with, this is not allowed. You need to have API access. And then what the FTP, right? This is like, this is the MCP server. This is the same shit I ranted about how many months ago? 2 months ago when everyone was about the MCP. And I said what they would do is limit this MCP stuff so that you would only get certain access for it. It's the bullshit that I called out 2 months ago about MCP. And how, you just freaking talk about it. MCP could talk to this other AI over here. It's the most amazing thing. I said, it's going to be even more regulated than API requests. And I literally proved it with paying $100 a month to Claude. So yes, I think what will happen is the prices will go up and the prices will be astronomically high for the best AI that you can get. Because in the future, it's going to be the thing that will not have me struggle with getting my top 10 customers for 15 minutes. It will give it to me instantly. And that's what you're going to pay for.
Are you going to get, if you were offered Neuralink, would you get it? Okay, why?
I don't want it. I don't like going to the dentist, let alone like getting something put into my brain.
Yeah, I mean, so the thing that I worry about is that level, which I think we're gonna get there probably in my lifetime, probably in your lifetime. I mean, like,
I mean, apparently it's going to happen in 2028. So, I mean, I think I got a couple more years.
yeah, I didn't know it was that. I didn't know that he was saying it was that happening that fast. But I mean, it's already helping people, like, I think, with disabilities and shit. But like just the common person. Like, here's the thing: there's gonna be people that want that level of compute organically, which is funny. You know, it's a funny uh, way to put that. There's gonna be people that want that, and then the question is gonna become, if you want to compete with a cyborg, your options are become a cyborg. It's pretty much your options. So like that's going to be a problem. That's going to be a big issue. And I don't have an answer for that. It's just that's kind of where, because when you say like you want to wake up and ask the AI like what's going on with me or whatever, it's like if it was in you, it would just know, you know.
Fair.
And
Yeah.
so like what I'm saying is I think there's actually a higher likelihood that the trajectory would probably skip the idea of like a whole home something and just go to it's in you. And it's just like now it's naturally integrated with you, and anything about you, it knows the personal AI about you. It knows everything that you're thinking. It knows all of your history. It knows everything about like your body and everything. And then Neuralink has the integrations with anything in the physical world that you need to integrate with. Now that's pretty fucked up. I mean, that's we're getting dystopian here, but that
But
I
yeah,
think
I
is,
mean, yeah, I think when I hear those things, like that's the natural evolution. That's the natural evolution. But it's also like the same thing that I think holds back, like my banking example before was like, I think it's like a lot of these things that hold back that innovation is big institutions going, whoa, if we introduce that, like, what are we going to do? Like, how are we going to continue to make money if like we give them this, this access, right?
yeah. Well, they need another plan first.
Well, I mean,
Another plan to make money.
insurance companies, perfect example. You know, like the age-old question of like, why am I paying this much money for insurance, whether it's health insurance, car insurance, any other stupid ass insurance, which is the biggest scam in history, right? What was the argument up to these? So how are we going to know if like, you know, how are we going to know like on your street or the way you drive or your medical history, like medical history is all over the place. Well, we got all this AI stuff. We should be able to just figure it out now. Like just figure it out, communicate to all these different systems and lower my price. Not going to happen. You know, it's just not going to happen. Same thing with how is Facebook able to pay these developers into print money? Because they have one, Zuckerberg controls it, unlike Google, and two, they have an advertising printing machine. So why not release AI onto how much wasted ad spend that they profit from? How much wasted ad spend do companies spend on ads? Well, why don't you unleash AI onto it so that immediately it knows that an ad is not performing well to a certain demographic and it can just change on the fly. Get hyper focused on like where it is working. Well, that would just shrink the ad revenue, you know, that these companies get. And maybe they trend in that direction and there's a way to for them to still be profitable, and it just becomes a better advertising platform, therefore takes away from others that are also just as bad at wasteful ad spend. But that's how these companies get so mad. Like the thing that makes them so massive, I don't think they want to unleash AI onto, at least not yet anyway. And that's what I think holds it back in the long run.
Yeah, I mean, I think the one thing again that I worry about, or not really worry about, but in a world where we may naturally evolve to that, I have this ridiculously small, when you think about that whole thing, like this ridiculously small idea. And I think I don't know if I said it last time. I feel like somewhere I brought it up to you is like, has everything that can be said, has it been said? You know, like, you know, you think about all the AI content that it's like pulling from stuff is just recycling more or less. Things are just being recycled in so many different ways, just because how fast content and how fast like life is moving. And unless you're actually innovating and creating something new, like is anything, it's a little hyperbolic, but is anything even like original whatsoever? But like in a world where like again, it's a little hard to think about, but what do we even do in that sense if we get to the point where, I mean, it's going to be like such a whole different thing if we come anywhere near close to like people with Neuralinks in their brains. I mean, like everything would just be moving so fast that you like wouldn't even know what to do. Yep.
Yeah,
Not
I
really
mean,
sure
and
how to.
it's gonna start with I think if I were to bet on a horse, it's gonna start with Facebook or Meta. They have like a 1% control over. I heard this morning of Ray-Ban, or the company, not Ray-Ban itself. Ray-Ban's a brand, but the company that owns it above Ray-Ban, and that's where it'll start. Like, I mean, it should start on the phone. If Apple, I don't know what the hell they're doing, but it should start on the phone or Google. But the glasses is like the natural thing to integrate to like that scenario. Instead of being inside of you, it's at least on your eyes, through your eyes. So you're seeing all this stuff, and there'll be local LLM inside the glasses that's solving those problems in front of you, whatever that is. You're looking at a leaky faucet. It's going to tell you how to fix it and what tools to grab, where to shut the water off. It's going to just fucking guide you through all of that stuff. You're going to look at your steak on the plate. It's going to tell you how many calories and how much you should eat, right? It'll visually show you, like, stop eating this portion of the plate, if you want to lose weight. That'll be the next iteration. And these things will be nice, but, I don't know how much of an impact it's going to have on humanity, in the long run.
Are these things only $300?
The Meta glasses? This guy's going to have them on the next. He's going to have
honest to God, I'm going to buy these.
Look for Mark Szymanski at the next WordCamp.
Well, okay, let's get a little crazy. Let's just get a little. Okay. If we want to wrap up, we can do this. But let's just bring this all together with the entire thing that we started with. Right? You started talking about how you're using AI, and I was like kind of being your psychiatrist about like how to make money and do all this stuff. Like and then we went off to dystopian land, which may happen. And then now we're back to it's like, okay, well, in the meantime, what do? Super, super simple, cheat code is to buy these $300 fucking glasses and make videos about these glasses. Like that, like the amount of return on, the amount of, so much of this stuff is kind of like timing. I'm actually considering definitely doing this because you could make this money back basically immediately in influence, subscriber, views, ad revenue, whatever.
Yeah, but these have been out for years. I'm not saying anything new here.
Well, I mean, I think the Oakleys just came out, but like the point is, like, I still don't even know enough about this, and I feel like I'm in the bubble. Like I've never like I was just envisioning in my mind, like you're going through this scenario. I was like, what does that actually look like? Because I haven't seen any of that. Like I have no idea. Are these glasses actually a screen? Can you actually see?
I don't know if there's like a heads-up display in them, but there's just a camera on them, and they just interface with your Facebook app or whatever app.
Well, whenever there's an actual screen, because remember, like Google Glass was so far ahead of its time, wasn't it? And I wasn't like, I don't know where I was. I don't know if I was a child or
Apple
what.
Apple Vision is that same thing, but Apple Vision is like a football mask or a football helmet that you're wearing, right? So it's just like, it's trending in that direction. It's just that these companies are missing the components technically missing the compute power and everything, like hyper shrunk down to your frames. Whereas Apple says, no, we put a computer on it. You just have to wear a backpack and a football and a ski mask in order to walk around. But I think Meta's the one that's like, okay, we've got the framework. We have the frames, literally, and we have LLM models, although maybe not the best. And if we can shrink this down, processing power, But nobody owns, here. And here's the last rant, because we're just all over the place today. But reading the reports of like, oh, Apple's coming out with a foldable phone, right? again, like we're hearing this rumor, but definitely next year or the year after, they'll have a foldable phone. And reports are that they're starting to buy the screens from Samsung. It's just like, how does this make any sense? Like, we're all just getting taken for a ride here, because it's like Apple's biggest competitors for phones anyway is Samsung, and you're buying screens from Samsung. Like, we're just like moving pieces around the board here. Like, we're just moving pieces around the board. Who is going to win when you're all just buying from each other? I don't understand it.
Well,
And
wait a second. Wait,
like, is that the reason why
you want a monopoly? Did you just make an argument for a monopoly right there?
No, I'm
Like,
not making an argument for a monopoly, but I'm just thinking, like, well, at this point in the game, like, it's obviously more profitable for for Apple to just buy these screens from Samsung versus just making the screens themselves.
R&D them. Yeah, I saw that video.
Which does, and because that's counter to what they did with chips. I mean, thank God they made their own chips. Like, they left Intel. That was the best thing they ever did, and probably
that's
why
way
they're
more
still
important
surviving.
than a screen, though. Like, that's way more important than a screen.
I don't know. It just seems weird that you would knock on the door of your biggest competitor and say, "We're going to make a foldable phone just like you." Can you make
out with
us
a trifold? Samsung is.
You're gonna make like those things we used to make in elementary school where you just fucking fire and like that. And but anyway, the point is like, it just seems weird that you would knock on the door of your number one competitor, be like, "Can we get those screens too?"
But why is I mean, I hear that it's weird, like to like just on the surface, but like, how are you looking at that though? Like, you actually
I'm
think
just saying, like, not all the companies have all of the pieces of the puzzle to make like the killer product.
So maybe that's surprising, but are you saying that's good or bad?
It's just weird. It's weird that Apple is buying screens from Samsung, their number one phone competitor.
I agree with what you're saying. Yeah, I was trying to extract more from that because I feel like,
well, I mean, like,
the way that you put it, it literally
happen...
sounded like you wanted a monopoly. It sounded
No,
like I don't want these guys to work together. I want one person to be the best. I want to have all my Apple shit. I want everyone else to just fuck off.
No, it's just because these things happen over... Like, these things are, like, if you're hearing it in, like, Mac rumors now, like, this shit's happened, a year, if not 2 years, if not more, time ago, because they're actually developing this stuff in Apple. It seems strange that you would go to your number one competitor and be like, "Don't tell anybody, but we're going to make a foldable phone too. We're going to need some spec screens from you to do that." And then Samsung's on the other side of the table going, "We're your number one competitor." Yeah, I know. Just don't tell anybody else. It's just,
they got the best screens.
Yeah,
they got the best screens, and they need the money too. Can you imagine Samsung? Like, I wasn't this an MKBHD video or something? Like, Samsung is like, most of their money comes from, I'm pretty sure it was MKBHD. Most of their money comes from selling screens to Apple, not the phone sales.
Yeah.
They both need each other.
Right. So, I mean, how much more, I don't know, how much more could consumers save if Apple just made the screens? Right? Maybe not. Maybe you can't make any money, because I'm sure Apple said, maybe we could make these own screens, and they would say, no, that would be like $30 billion a year. And they go, fuck it, we'll just keep buying screens from Samsung. Right? But how much does it cost to make, when they made that decision about Intel chips, I mean, making processors seems like an insane amount of more money than Intel, than buying from Intel. They did it. Why not screens too? I mean, I don't know.
Now Intel's dead. Yeah, so it happens. Yeah, AMD all the way. Yeah, I don't know the answer to that question. I just feel like that's like a business calculus that they would have to do, and maybe they fucked up a little bit on the chips. Maybe it took them longer than they thought. I'm just completely speculating here. Maybe they're like, this is important, but we need to do this. We're probably going to take a hit on this, but long term it's going to be right. We're not going to do this again to the screens, because the screens are not as important as the computing power, and we can get these screens right over here from Samsung, and it'll all be fine. Now, the only problem with that is that I would think, I don't know, but like, you would think it's kind of like a bottleneck in your business. Yeah. Like, if you can't produce your own screens, then what happens if something does happen to Samsung? Then, like, now you have to go do that anyway. So maybe they're doing that in the back. They're just doing it slower. Maybe they're just taking all the screens and just being like, here's some, let's try to figure out how they do this or something. I don't know. I just think that that's probably kind of how a lot of businesses end up operating, which honestly, like I said, I feel like that's probably better than a monopoly, but there's only a handful of them anyway. So it kind of is like a mini monopoly, like a little, combined monopoly anyway, to a degree. So don't know.
Anything else before we wrap up?
I think this was great. We did a little bit of psychological work. We did a lot of philosophy stuff. Got dystopian. Yeah, I think people watch this are going to get a lot out of it. Maybe cry, maybe, worry about the future, but
they'll get a lot of something out of it. Thanks for watching, everybody. WPminute.com/subscribe, mjs.bio. This is a solopreneur series, but I don't know. I just two guys talking about the doom
stuff. Yep.
of AI. All right, we'll see you in the next one.